Hi and welcome to this reading. Today's reading is a collective love reading. I've been pulling through an energy for the past couple of days and I just needed to sit with it to get more of a sense of where the energy was going. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading. Then I will come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify the message. All of my messages are timeless. Whenever you stumble across this reading, you were meant to find it. Part of a spiritual journey that you are on with somebody special in your life. I will also say that my puppy, prior to this reading starting, he actually came and sat beside me before I even started pulling cards, when I was just sitting in your energy. And he is very, very calm and balanced today. So what I'm sensing here is a real balance in the energy within this connection. I want to say a tempering out within the energy in this connection. So if you are new to my channel, all of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I'm also an illustrator. If you're called to any of those, the links to those can be found in the description box, as well as any movies or songs that I mention within the reading. There might be more messages for you in the lyrics to the song, in the name of the artist, the imagery on the album cover, the lyrics, did I say that? The lyrics of the song, the name of the song. Potentially, if that song is attached to a movie, there might be messages in the movie, or that song just might have some sort of significance to you within a soul connection that you have with somebody. So let's get started. For the past couple of days, I was hearing the word Ponte Vecchio, and it just kept coming through, Ponte Vecchio, Ponte Vecchio. I don't know why, very, very random. Somewhere where I have been, it's a bridge in Florence. And I actually had to look it up. I knew what the bridge looked like. I knew that word, but I was in Florence 30 years ago. So I hadn't really kind of connected that word with the bridge until I went looking it up. I've been getting through in my random shuffle songs. I use music as a tool to connect me with energy that I'm pulling through. It gives additional messages. Been getting lots of songs coming through. If you put your music on random shuffle, lots and lots of songs coming through in regards to past life love connections. Now, this could be the case in this particular instance, but what I was getting was the story of the Ponte Vecchio. Now, I think they're called Florentines. Basically, the Ponte Vecchio is in Florence. And it is the oldest bridge in Florence. When World War II happened, the German army was actually stationed in Florence. And they bombed all the bridges in Florence except the Ponte Vecchio. And from a tactical perspective, if you bomb a bridge or take out a bridge, you're basically taking out the ability for anybody that's trying to attack you, or anybody that's trying to get supplies or anything, to their troops. You basically take out their ability to do so. So there could be an energy here of somebody trying to stop a connection between two people. But this reading's got a bit of a twist, because there is a story about that bridge and the reason why it wasn't destroyed. Now, it's a story that apparently the locals tell, and they're very romantic, and so it's got a romantic sense to it. Whether there is in actuality there is any fact to it, I guess we'll never know. But the story goes that there was a German soldier who fell in love with an Italian girl, and they would meet on the bridge, and it became a special place for them, almost symbolic. And he couldn't bear to see it destroyed. And when he found out that that was a possibility, he went straight to the top. He went straight to Hitler and asked, told him the love story, and asked if the bridge could be spared. Now, what actually in effect happened, and surely that story is not true, beautiful as it seems, what actually happened was the roads surrounding the bridge were actually bombed and the bridge stayed intact. So by bombing the roads, it meant that you couldn't even access the bridge. And for some reason, I think it was built in 1368 by the Medici family. That might have some significance to you. But the energy I'm picking up on is of a divine masculine energy who will stop at nothing to keep the connection. Somebody who will go straight to the top. And I'm sensing it's because we are in Pisces season and we are coming into the end of this particular soulmate cycle. A couple that has been in separation and a divine masculine energy that is literally going straight to the top, in terms of straight to the top, begging and pleading with the man upstairs to keep the connection between you stable. If you think about a bridge, it goes over a body of water. Now, as I said, and we are literally going into, the North Node is in Pisces for the next 18 months, but we are at the end of February. So we are going into Pisces season. Pisces is water, a spiritual connection, water, a bridge goes over water. The other song that I was hearing was James Bay, Hold Back the River. This masculine energy will stop at nothing for this connection. Hold back the river. It also suggests to me that there is, because I'm thinking of a tsunami now, it also suggests to me that there is a tsunami of emotions that this masculine holds for his divine feminine. But there's a twist to this reading, because I get lots of biblical references prior to a reading, and one of the references that was coming through, I saw the Ace of Cups, which is a spiritual connection, also water energy. I saw the 10 of Cups, which is Mars in Pisces. So this fiery passion. It's the 10 of Cups is the happily ever after card, and it was this story of this promise. It was coming through as the promise that God made to Abraham, this promise that God has made to this masculine. And the masculine is doing everything in the 3D to stop that bridge being torn down. And what I just heard was things are hanging on by a thread. Because if you look at that story, he was a German soldier and she was an Italian girl. Different cultures, different languages. They were dealing with something in the 3D, as in, somebody who wanted to take a bridge out. They were also in the midst of World War II, which is mimicking the soulmate cycle currently. Lots and lots of sevens coming through my readings, and World War II was 1939, 1940, 1941, 1942, 1943, 1944, 1945. Astrologically, we've got the same things playing out in the sky. So 2019 through to 2025, somebody might have been trying to keep this bridge between you held up as somebody else tried to pull it down. And actually in this deck, the Three of Pentacles is a bridge. Somebody else trying to pull it down. Lots of obstacles in the way of this connection. But that 7 number comes full circle because Jupiter, which is 777, Jupiter goes into Cancer in June this year. It's a 84-year cycle, and when that happened in World War II, it was the bombing of Hiroshima. Somebody taking something down. It was the bombing of Hiroshima which eventually ended the war, which then allowed anybody who was kept separate the opportunity to reunite, the opportunity to build a bridge. The other card that was coming through was the Four of Pentacles, which is the Sun in Capricorn. But the story around that particular card, and I've been doing a lot of research because I've been getting biblical messages, and I can't remember the last time I read the Bible, but I had to go back in and just find out. In the tarot, lots of cards align with lots of different stories in religious text. The Four of Pentacles is about the parable of this rich man who basically holds all of his wealth, almost saving it for a rainy day. And when the place where he stores it all gets too small, he decides to build a bigger storage center. And then what happens is he actually gets taken away. So everything that he built, he loses in a second. Now you can look at it from the perspective of, this particular relationship. Everything that you're trying to build, everything that you're trying to spiritually connect with the other person can be taken away by, somebody removing the bridge. You could also look at it as, for example, Hitler, had all of this stuff in the bunker, all of this prize artwork and all of this stuff in the bunker. And for him, it was taken away in an instant. I don't know whether I said it before, sitting on a knife's edge. There's something precarious about this connection. And I want to say here, the important thing, because we had two spiritual cards that were coming out in my mind's eye, the Ace of Cups and the Ten of Cups. The focus needs to be on the spiritual connection as opposed to the material connection. Because at the end of the day, even if somebody removed a bridge, if the love is there, if that spiritual tie is there, it doesn't matter how many bridges are destroyed. Okay, let's get 44 success. Let's get an angel card. That's the High Priestess. An angel card for this connection. Who is watching over this connection? We've got 29, liberation and defender of spiritual truth. And 41, divine mission. 4 and a 1 is 5, which is change. 29 is 11, divine mission. Very, very spiritual connection here. Liberation and defender of spiritual truth. And when you think about that story, as I said, it may not be real, but it's a story that's told about that bridge 84 years after the war. Divine mission. A story about your love that is going to be told as a marker of love in a difficult situation. That's the Seven of Wands and the Four of Swords. It doesn't matter what's going on around, love always wins. Okay, this is my Divine Messages deck. Let's find out a bit more. Reinvention. Now that's fallen on the floor. How beautiful is that? That's the Ace of Cups, which is the card that I saw in my mind's eye. It's about a refocus of this energy of what if the bridge gets torn down, reinvention, and an understanding that even if there is a separation, the connection is spiritual. It's almost like that red string of fate. Do I want to use that deck? No, I'm going to use this one. Actually, my mind's all over the shop in this reading. Let's get an energy. An energy. What's the energy around this connection? The Ace of Wands. Rebirth. that's Phoenix rising from the ashes. And actually, you know what the imagery I just got was of the, and I'm not going to use the word, is it an eagle behind? Now that's an interesting thought. The eagle behind the German logo. That came through in some research that I was doing the other day because, and again with this 7-7. So the North Star, the pole star, which is essentially Aquarius, a fated connection, a fated spiritual connection. And I love how all of this information just keeps tying back in. A fated spiritual connection, destined, the compass, the North Star, a destined connection where things in the 3D have tried to pull down the bridge between you. That was actually coming through this morning too. The Bridge to Terabithia, that's a movie. Pull down the connection between you. But the North Star is surrounded by Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, the big bear and the little bear. And if you look at that constellation, it's actually 7 stars, 7, 7, but it looks like a 7, an upright 7 and an upside down 7. The last reading had so many 7s coming through. 7, 7. But what I was actually reading the other day was the logo, the graphic that in World War II was used to symbolize, and I'm going to draw it, you'll know what I mean. I think I got it wrong. Symbolically, there's a connection between that and Ursa Major, because if you look at that graphic, it's literally 7s. That's 7, that constellation. Now, Ursa Major has a connection to the stairway to heaven. Ursa Major is known as the stairway to heaven. And the stairway to heaven actually comes from the dream that Jacob had when he was 77 years old. And I think it's in Genesis. He had that dream when he was 77 years old about this stairway to heaven. Another thing that had been pulling through probably 18 months ago was that I got a connection between what he was seeing in his dream, which was meant to be this ladder to heaven. But if you think about him in the context of the time that he was living in, and what he saw was angels going up and down, or what he envisaged as, or envisaged, what he thought were that word, what he thought was angels going up and down this ladder. But really, the ladder could have been a DNA strand. And in the tarot, the story about Jacob and Rachel in these decks here is the 7 of Pentacles. That's 7 number again, World War II, 7 years, 2019 to 2025, 7 years. Jacob was 77, but in the story in the Bible, Jacob's dream, which he had when he was 77, is the 8 of Wands, which is a card of communication. Hold back the river. Now, in the irony of what's actually happening, and again, it came through in a reading yesterday, because these big stories, you know, like this story of this couple, this beautiful tale of this love story of the Ponte Vecchio. Stories within the Bible, biblical stories, within any sort of historical text, actually, I believe, are there as a synchronicity to what's actually playing out in real life. All the dramas that are happening in the world. In that Bible story, at 77, Jacob met Rachel, was betrothed to her, and on the 7th year was deceived and married to somebody else, and then had to work another 7 years. So by the time that 7-7 was over, that 14-year cycle was over, he was 84. Now, God changed in the Bible Jacob's name to Israel. Israel turned 77 this year. on the 18th of May. On the 1st of May is the celebration of Beltane, which is the start of spring, but it's a festival of love. It's the Mayflower. The Mayflower, that was a boat. Again, that body of water, separation, some sort of separation here. But it's a spiritual connection. Interesting. Okay, what's happening in the 3D for this couple? We've got cards wanting to come out, but not wanting. The Queen of Pentacles. Uranus in Virgo. I'm just going to sit on that. I want to see what's happening in the soul. The Fool, a new beginning. I want to say here that something's being torn down. And potentially it's something in the 3D that's being torn down to herald in this spiritual connection. And if I go back to that parable of the rich fool, which is the Sun in Capricorn, the Four of Pentacles, maybe something that you've been holding on to, or the notion that this relationship has to be in the physical. It has to be a physical bridge in order for it to stay connected, when the reality is that the connection has been there all along. Hold back the river. Hold back the river. Let me look in your eyes. Hold back the river. Interesting. Queen of Pentacles, single, independent, free. That's Uranus in Virgo. Now, the Fool card is Uranus also. And actually, Uranus goes into Gemini on the 7th of the 7th this year. And that was the change that happened in World War II, because Uranus has been in Taurus. It sits in a sign for, I want to say 7 years, 8 years. Maybe it's 7. On the 7th of the 7th this year, Uranus in Virgo. Virgo is lying dormant. I almost want to say that the connection has been lying dormant. Individually building your own. The Three of Pentacles is building. Individually building your own selves up to herald in a new beginning. And what I've got the image of is two people. You've got a body of water. You've got two people, one person on this side, one person on this side. They're building their own spiritual strength. So this person on this side is kind of building to come across, knowingly or unknowingly, building to come across solid foundations, like right down in the earth, deep-rooted, solid foundations. This person's doing the same. And then when you get to the point where you're almost touching, it's not that far just to reach out your hand. You had to build the spiritual foundation. The bridge needed spiritual foundation. The bridge didn't need 3D foundation. It needed a spiritual foundation. Because if it's got a spiritual foundation, it can't be torn down. Okay. Sometimes a reading kind of has to evolve. Uranus in Virgo. Uranus is the planet of sudden shocking events. And if you think of a tree in a big storm, if the roots of that tree, and outside the wind is blowing like a gale, if the roots of that tree have been laid, as I said, that Seven of Pentacles card, where you planted your seeds, if the roots of the tree of these two individuals have been laid over time, spiritually, then they're almost locked in with the divine. A bit like that story. 84 years long, that story now. And it doesn't really matter anymore if it's true or false. It's just this beautiful love story. Building a spiritual bridge. I just keep hearing holy water. Hold back the river, let me look in your eyes. Now, the line in that song is not holy water, but I keep hearing holy water, holy water. You're building a spiritual bridge over holy water to this person. That is beautiful. Divine mission. That's the Four of Swords. Okay, let's have a look at the message from the man upstairs. Because Virgo is the Hermit. Four of Cups. Lots of fours. The Four of Cups is the moon in Cancer. It's also the card of disappointment, but it's also a card of, if you see this, the moon on the bottom, if you see this little cloud here, it's something being handed to you by the divine, and you're kind of saying, actually, I don't want that yet. Hold back the river. Maybe there's been temptations along the way. And the outcome, the Knight of Wands, which is Mars in Sagittarius, charging forward. Hold back the river. And on the bottom, we've got the Ten of Swords, which is the Sun in Gemini, the end of a karmic cycle. It's karmic completion. You had to build a spiritual bridge for the foundations of this relationship to remain. Okay, let us get, I'm going to use that one. Let's get the Ace of Wands. Almost like tearing down the 3D focus on this connection. Wow. That's the Ace of Wands on the Ace of Wands. The Six of Wands, it's Jupiter in Leo. The Ace of Wands, the Ace of Wands. Holy smokeroli. The energy around this connection. It is, I want to say, raring to go. And I've got that song, Why Do Birds Suddenly Appear Every Time You Are Near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. These two birds here also holding a wand, but also holding that wreath, that victory wreath. That card is about a soldier coming back from war. Everybody thought that he was gone, and then he rode back into town. Potentially somebody thinking that if they remove the bridge between you, the physical bridge between you, it would, but what it actually did was it forced you both, again, knowingly or unknowingly, to focus on the spiritual work, which has actually built the foundation of a spiritual bridge, which can't be knocked down. You got three aces here. Queen of Pentacles. What's happening in the 3D? Empress energy. Beautiful. The Page of Wands. And the Eight of Swords. That's a watching and a waiting. Waiting for the spiritual bridge to come close enough that you can just reach out and touch the other person. Now that Eight of Swords, as I said before, is Jupiter in Gemini. In June this year, Jupiter goes into Cancer. Cancer is the Chariot. The Chariot card is number 7. The Chariot card is also the Moon, which is the Empress, the Divine Feminine. Uranus in Virgo, which is the Queen of Pentacles, is somebody single, independent, free. They don't need anybody. They have been happily building their own wealth, the Empress. Now when Jupiter, which is 777, when Jupiter goes into Cancer in June, then we've got 4 sevens. The Chariot card is number 7. And Jupiter is 777. The Eight of Swords. It's like, I just said freedom. The Fool. The King of Wands. I'll give you an explanation. And the Four of Cups. Again, that disappointment energy. But in this particular tarot deck, this is my Lovebirds tarot deck. It was born from a set of teacups that my grandmother gave me, which is about a story of, let me show you, the Hangman on the bottom. Now, I went and found more of the teacups and made little candles out of them so that I could use them in the readings. The set of teacups that my grandmother gave to me, and her story was a World War II love story. She met a man in the military police, fell in love with him, different cultures, and literally moved to the other side of the country with him. It's called the Lovebirds Tarot Deck. It is about two people from different backgrounds who are kept apart, forbidden, and that's that bridge there. Forbidden to be together because of circumstance. It's actually because of her father. Forbidden to be together, and they both do their spiritual work and make the decision that nothing can hold them back, that love is more important and nothing can hold them back. And I've just realized this symbolism, and I didn't think about it before. And so what happens is each of them individually, the Queen of Pentacles, single, independent, free, each of them independently go and stand on these stairs, this stairway to heaven. They go and stand on these stairs, they meet on these stairs, and they run across this bridge together, chased by those that would keep them apart. Life, circumstance, a person, and God, because they put their love first, because their love is spiritual love, turns them into a pair of birds so they can fly away to their freedom. But and I'll show you, because I was talking about the card in the tarot that represents, in the original Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, that represents the stairway to heaven, Jacob's dream at 77. The stairway to heaven is the Eight of Wands. Let me find it. Bear with me. So my grandmother gave me this set of teacups, and I just felt inspired to create a tarot deck around the story because the story was just so beautiful. There's the bridge, the Three of Pentacles. The physical bridge that they think is separating them, when in actual fact it's the spiritual bridge that connects them. There they are, the Eight of Wands running across the bridge. The stairway to heaven. Heaven is their love. Heaven is the North Star. Heaven is Ursa Major, which is the connection. In ancient times, Ursa Major was seen in the night sky as the connection to heaven, destined to be together. Okay, where were we at? Disappointment, the King of Wands. So he stands on the steps and he waits for her. Then together they join, run across this bridge. God comes in, turns them into a pair of birds, and they fly away to their freedom. This Fool, this new beginning. The end of disappointment. The end of, I guess maybe the thought process that things in the 3D can actually keep you apart. Because in this particular story, they don't know that God will turn them into a pair of birds. They actually have to put their love first, and then they get rewarded for putting their love first. A bit like the soldier going to Hitler, putting his love first, going to Hitler and saying, please don't destroy the bridge. And it's rewarded because the physical bridge stays. But because it's a spiritual connection, it really doesn't matter about the physical because you're connected anyway. Beautiful. Okay, the Four of Cups. This is the message from the man upstairs. The Ten of Cups, that was the card I saw. God knows that it's a spiritual connection. Don't get bogged down in all the things that are keeping you apart. Physically keeping you apart. It could be water. Because it's a spiritual connection. It's a promise. That Ten of Cups, when that originally came out in my mind's eye and I was thinking about the story, it was the story of Abraham and God's promise to Abraham. Which is actually pretty relevant at the moment. I was thinking about that when I was doing this reading. God's there, she is. Look at that, Queen of Wands. God's promise. The King of Wands, the Queen of Wands. God's promise to Abraham. That if you put the spiritual connection that you have with this other person first, I just heard you will get to heaven. Queen of Wands, King of Wands. Don't think about the disappointment in the 3D, because with that Four of Pentacles card there, material things can be taken away in an instant. A bridge can be taken away in an instant. Finance can be taken away in an instant. But it doesn't matter. These two, when they ran away, they had nothing. Okay, the Knight of Wands. That's charging forward, making the decision to go and stand on the steps. The outcome. The outcome here comes King of Swords and the Death card, which is death and rebirth, which is a new beginning, which is this year. 999. The 999 portal is this year. That hasn't happened since 2015. No. That hasn't happened since 2016. Something might have, this connection might have fired up in 2016. 10 years. Pisces is the 12th sign in the zodiac. It is the sign of death and rebirth. Death and rebirth. It's also Scorpio energy. It's also Pluto energy. It's a new beginning. And the King of Swords is Uranus in Libra. Uranus. Uranus. Libra is balance, but Libra is relationships. Again, it's that realization that doesn't matter what tries to tear you apart in the physical. It's the spiritual connection that can't be pulled apart. And I just saw Metatron, Angel Metatron. He writes in the Book of Life, Metatron. He's also the Wheel of Fortune, which is Jupiter energy, which is that triple energy. Look at that, Judgment. How beautiful is that? That is across the bridge. I can't believe this bridge reference has come out, and I didn't even realize it when I was drawing the cards. I love that. Judgment. You have to pass through judgment to end the karmic cycle. Make the decision to put the connection first, for God to actually turn you into a pair of birds. This Ace of Cups card here. And we've got the lamp here, the lantern from the Hermit card. The Hermit card is about a spiritual journey that you each individually go on. This Queen of Pentacles, single, independent, free. A spiritual journey that you go on where you do the spiritual work on yourself in order to recognize that even if you have nothing, that Four of Pentacles, even if, you know, that parable of the rich fool, even if you have nothing, even if you have to walk away from everything, what you actually get is spiritual love, more valuable. The Dragon. What a beautiful reading. End of a karmic cycle, Judgment. That goes back to, I did a whole playlist, Adam and Eve in Legoland. I've been pulling through the energy of Adam and Eve, these biblical love stories that tie back into the original story, and that was also coming through. The beginning and the end, death and rebirth, the beginning and the end of these love stories, and the new beginning of them. Because it's actually God who decides how close you are to reaching out your hand. If you've built your spiritual bridge and they've built their spiritual bridge, and then all of a sudden you connect. Okay, let's get... Yeah, that reinvention is a walking away of the thought that to have something in the physical or to lose a connection in the physical means that there isn't a spiritual connection. But if you've been doing the work, there is. It's the spiritual connection that actually, it's the magnet that draws you together. Life purpose and abundance, which is that 777. Now I've got completion. And now I've got the Stairway to Heaven, and she's buying the Stairway to Heaven. The Stairway to Heaven. Partnership. And you can hear those cards. They're like flipping. Keep calm at this time. Don't worry about what's going on in the 3D. Heavy burdens. Don't worry about what's going on in the 3D. Heavy burdens is the 10 of Swords. If it doesn't serve you, cut it out. That's 3D things. Deep shadow work. This realization that 3D possessions don't serve you. And I just heard don't serve you where you're going. Where are you going? Actually, that came through this morning as well. At the end of the day, no matter whether you're rich or poor, we all go out in a wooden box. You can't take it with you. Okay. I don't know why that came through. That's for somebody. He's gone to sleep now. My dog, Apollo, has gone to sleep. Very, very calm. Full moon in Gemini, time to talk the talk. Communication is the secret sauce. Let the lunar quiz on commitment begin during the first quarter moon phase. I think those two cards came out in the reading yesterday. There might be something in that reading yesterday. It was more of a collective reading about the current energy around us and the deception within it. But clearly, when cards come out all the time and the deception within it, Leo, full moon in Leo, remember to strut with confidence. It's a secret source to success. This is this guy here. Where is he? The King of Wands. Making the decision to leave everything behind. And what that does, hold back the river. Holy water, holy water. By making the decision to leave everything behind, magnetically you draw whoever it is that you are connected to in this spiritual connection to do the same. It's almost like you mirror each other. And that's what draws you together. But I almost want to say here, because this is the message from the man upstairs, one person activates the other, but in different ways. One person might have started the spiritual work first, which activated the spiritual work in the other person. But once that spiritual work was complete, this Empress energy, once you'd individually each nurtured yourself, then one person has to step up and walk away. Walk away from the 3D and walk towards the spiritual, and that then pulls the other in. But here, because this is God. God is very protective of people who have done spiritual work. Hold back the river. When these guys are running across that bridge, where is that card? Here. When these guys are running across that bridge, the way the story goes is that they're literally being chased by all those that would see them not be together. They're literally being chased. And he protects them by turning them into a pair of birds. Because if they're caught, they'll lose their lives. This is a highly, highly spiritual connection. We've got the Knight of Cups underneath, which is the moon in Scorpio, death and rebirth. Highly, highly, the moon in Scorpio, the moon is what's hidden. I want to say that you've both been wrapped up in the cocoons of the lessons that you're meant to learn. As I started this reading, this huge big butterfly, and I pop that there, it would have been this big, black and white, yin and yang. This huge big black and white butterfly flew by. Now a butterfly has to stay in the cocoon, has to almost turn into mush to be reborn. You've been protected within whatever cocoon you've been in. And we've got the divine feminine energy here. And we've got eggs here. There's something that you're meant to bring forth. Okay, there's something that you're meant to bring, there's something that you're meant to birth. We had divine mission here. There's something that you're meant to birth together, but you both need to be at the nest together, protecting it together, which you do as part of a spiritual connection. In the death card here, and you see that that's the devil in this card. If you had have come forward too fast, sometimes the Knight of Wands is coming forward too fast. The spiritual foundations that you were building, because I think in the beginning you were focusing on, you know, this, oh my God, is the bridge going to be torn down? As in the physical 3D bridge going to be torn down? And this devil energy here has control over that. He controls whether the two birds are there to look after what's meant to be built. And if you had it charged in too fast, disappointment. But in being held back, you've actually built the spiritual connection. He's outside playing with a grasshopper, a little green grasshopper. How interesting. Okay, let's have a look at the spiritual work. This is my Nodes of Destiny deck. South Node in the 8th house. South Node making a splash in the 8th house. It looks like you've been in a tight bear hug with your cash. Time to feed... blah, 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 blah. Time to bid farewell to those old stuck-in-a-rut alibis and release your inner rock star. Picture it as your snug corner in the universe's fun fair. It's where you say adieu to welcome exciting escapades, the brand new beginnings. That is holding on to the physical, which is that Four of Pentacles card. The parable of the rich fool. Holding on to the idea that if this connection is not in the 3D, that it's not there. And the realization that, and maybe you've been doing the spiritual work and you don't realize that it's your spiritual work that's actually drawing the two of you closer together. And if you haven't been doing it, it's a signal to not focus on the 3D, but to actually focus on the spiritual, because that's what brings this in. That's what brings that dragon. By walking away, these two, they walk away from everything that they know. So this guy here, same girl. In that story, that's her father. She has to walk away from family, from everything that she knows, from a lifestyle that's been created for her and given to her. And he, the man that she loves, is an employee of her father. That might be a story for you. He has to walk away from his job. They have to literally leave with nothing in their hands but their spiritual truth. And a faith that the spiritual connection that they have is enough to hold back the river. Okay, this is my love songs deck. Let's have a look. Look at the stars. Look how they shine for you. And everything they do. And everything you do. Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you. And all the things you do. And it was called Yellow. Turn into something beautiful. And you know I love you so. Yellow, Coldplay. Polly. there's a typo on that card. Cold Palais, P-A-L-Y, Palais, Palais. Oh, I've got Palais, 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 Palais. Now I've got that Rush, Rush song coming into my mind. Rush, rush, hurry lover, come to me. Ah, who is that? Paula Abdul. Rush, rush. Palais. Cold Palais. I just called to say I love you. Stevie Wonder. No April rain, no flowers bloom, no wedding Saturday within the month of June. But what it is something true, made up of these 3 words that I must say to you. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. That's not being able to see something physically in the 3D, but knowing that there is a spiritual connection underneath. And if you think about, and I mean this with, if you think about Stevie Wonder, he was blind. That's somebody who followed their intuition. Make you feel my love, Adele. When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. Okay, one more. Breathe easy. Timothy James Bowen. Whenever you're lost, know that I'd find you. I'd build a boat out of branches and sail it across the blue. That's that water coming through. There's no reason for fear. It's just time and space. And it would take more than a storm in the night for what we've built to break. That song he wrote for his wife. He's an Australian singer. He wrote for his wife. He was going through a massive health scare. And she was around him and supporting him. One more. The Man Who Can't Be Moved, the script. Because if one day you wake up and find that you're missing me and your heart starts to wonder where on this earth I could be, this is a separation. Thinking maybe you'll come back here to the place that we meet and you'll see me waiting for you on the corner of the street. I'm not moving. That reminds me of New York, that song. I don't know whether it was filmed in New York. Love Story, Taylor Swift, Romeo and Juliet. I was thinking about that this morning when I was thinking about the Ponte Vecchio, that bridge, which is in Florence, but Romeo and Juliet is Verona. I wonder if there's another Italian love story around the Ponte Vecchio. Or perhaps a movie. I just want to think of Under the Tuscan Sun and Kiss the Girl. There you see her sitting there across the way. She don't got a lot to say, but there's something about her. And you don't know why, but you're dying to try. You want to kiss the girl. That is from the Little Mermaid. That's about 2 people from 2 different worlds. If you think about that story, that love story around the Ponte Vecchio. He was a German soldier. She was a Italian local, and they fell in love. Kiss the girl. That's Sebastian the Crab. My husband he's not anymore, but he was in the military at the time. I actually, we just met, and I had a working permit to work in the UK. And even though there were feelings there, I'd already committed to something else, and I went away for 12 months. And after that 12 months, he came and travelled around Europe with me before we came home. And one of the places that we went was Disneyland in Paris. And we bought Sebastian the Crab, a little hand puppet, which we still have. Kiss the Girl. Because it's Sebastian the Crab that sings that song, Samuel E. Wright. But you're dying to try, you want to kiss the girl. How cute is that? I'll stand by you, the pretenders. Okay, let's get some love messages for this reading. I want you to put yourself first. That's about doing the spiritual work, and that's actually what brings you together. Truth and honesty is my priority. I really don't know if you even care. I'm so frustrated. I dream about you and our future. It's about, I really don't know if you even care. When you can't see something in the physical, you just have to trust that the spiritual connection is there. I think we have lost it all. You just have to trust. Path and purpose. This person was put on your path for a specific purpose. This card here, you have a divine mission. Something that you're meant to do together in this lifetime. Don't be hasty. Jealousy. Past life, you've done it before. I owe you an apology. I'm going to get one more. I sabotaged this because of fear. Maybe, and because of a karmic connection, maybe I sabotaged this because of fear. The fear that because something isn't in the 3D, that there's not still an underlying connection. That's bigger than both of you, I want to say. Okay, let's get some Scrabble tiles. Letters and numbers in here. Stairway to heaven. It does make a little bit of noise, so when I shake it, if you have hearing sensitivity, just turn your volume down. I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Ooh. I've only got 2. Oh, look. That's the message. Us. How beautiful is that? It's the story of us. Is that a movie? The story of us. I'm going to put these back in because we don't need anything else. The story of us. Okay, I'm going to get you 3 final cards. Anything else that your guides want to tell you? The Queen of Wands. The 5 of Swords. The Queen of Wands is the Moon in Leo. The 5 of Swords is Venus in Aquarius. And the Page of Wands. And the Queen of Pentacles again. This is about the spiritual journey that you've been on. The waiting, the watching, the looking for signs in the 3D. But the understanding that the focus needs to be on the spiritual work in order for this relationship to come in. I want to get some more. Hang on. Anything else? Emperor. And the King of Cups. Neptune and Pisces, going in and doing the spiritual work. Because we already had the Empress out. Now we've got the Emperor. And understanding that it's dropping the material and focusing on the spiritual. That actually builds the bridge. I just heard again, the bridge to Terabithia. What is that? That brings in the love. That's what I've got for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. If it resonated with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. You're welcome to share your story in the comments. As I said, I'll list the songs that came through, the movies that came through in the description box. If you feel called to, go a little deeper into the lyrics or to any connections that those songs have, or any connection that those songs have to any movies. All the best on your spiritual journey, and I will see you again in another reading.